Hello and welcome to this caster game of Age of Empires 3D. This game has been uploaded to the Sunbros Discord, so thanks to the uploader for providing us with this recording. And the matchup for this game is between the Italians, who are spawning here in red at the north of the map, opening up with an architect market and an architect house, and one of the least played civs in the game, the Lakota. We're spawning in here in the south of the map, in the colour green, and have opened up with a TP, which I think is pretty standard for them. Sometimes you see Lakota go for a market opening as well, but I don't think we're going to have that. That is going to buff their villagers up to a nice 0.92. I think that's like a 10% buff. Yeah, 10% buff on their villagers, so that's going to be significant during their H1. And I will come clean, viewers. This is my second attempt at recording a cast of this game because something weird happens. A little bit of potentially lesser known D lore. I don't know. Maybe you'll know it, and I'll just think that I'm very ignorant. But I had to stop the recording, go and look something up, and then I realised I hadn't actually stopped the recording. So there was just 5 minutes of silence while I looked something up. But you don't need to know about that. We are just getting on with this game as it goes now. So Italy 12-10 at the moment as they finish up their house. They've overpopped with those market techs, got a shipment stacked. Here it is. The deck is called Mario Tennis. Let me tell you why it's called Mario Tennis. I don't know. But we have got actually a fairly standard looking collection of cards here. A couple of upgrades. This Schiavone swords you don't see that often, but it seems kind of good, right? So I don't know why. Like, that applies to all units, like mercenaries and everything, right? So yeah, it seems pretty good to me. But yeah, we've got the Uffizi, we've got the Lombard, we've got the Lombard investment, 700 coin, some musketeers. Interestingly, we've got, though, these 3 taverns, and we've got both the Broken Lance and the Croatian companies. So I think I've done a couple of videos before, and I've certainly played a few games where I've been on the receiving end of this kind of really nasty potential double. You've got the heavy cavalry here, and then you've got the skirmishers and goons of the Croatian company. And either or both of those cards with a good timing in early H2 can really, really wreck a player, especially someone who has maybe let their hunts wander a little bit too far away from the town centre. So suddenly when some powerful enemy units show up to start threatening their villagers, going to be in a whole lot of trouble. But anyway, we've got Lakota on the way up now, going up with the chief, which I believe is resources, some resources. And they've built their tribal marketplace, starting to get in some coin. And you'll note in a moment the first thing that's going to go weird in this game. I should note that I don't know how this game ends, but the first weird thing that Lakota are going to do is they're going to click for the automatic TP on this house of ours. I won't spoil any more things before they actually happen, but that was going to be easy to miss, so I thought I'd point it out. And the next weird thing Lakota are going to do is they're going to send in this Winter Counts card. Now, you noticed, maybe I didn't show it for very long, but the Lakota deck is called Econ Master, and we've got some unusual cards in here. We've got Winter Counts, which increases the XP for creating units and buildings. We've got the medicine wheels and 4 healers, so maybe there's potentially a bit of healer community plaza play there. We've got 3 trade posts. That's not a card you see very often. And then we've got the gunslingers and the cowboys, so double mercenary cards. And you'll note already, gosh, it happens so fast. I'm just going to pause for a second. The cost of these gunslingers is on a weird number. And that's because it's been discounted. It came in so fast I couldn't even spot it happening. But that's been discounted by the Tribal Marketplace Big Button. The Tribal Marketplace Big Button costs you... I had to look this up. It costs you something like 200 food, 200 wood. Yep. And the effect of that is twofold. First of all, it gives you a discount on coin costs for shipments, which is why these numbers are reduced. I'm guessing they're reduced by 25%, looking at what they've gone down to now. And villagers working at the community plaza earn an XP trickle. It looks like you're getting 0.03, so that's roughly a trade. That's 30 villagers would make a trade post worth of XP, so it's not a great amount. If you had all 10 on there, you'd be getting just a third of a trade post, which isn't a load. We also see Lakota going for the auto build on this XP on this trade post here, and a manual build on this trade post here. And look at this, we've got the 3 trading post traveler come in as well. So Lakota are going to be grabbing an absolute load of trade posts. Now, it's a little bit awkward this because these are European trade posts, so they don't give you a base XP income like other continents' trade posts do. Instead, on the European ones, you get the big button abilities, which have to charge up. And on this map, the big button abilities are all a bit weird. The Vaza one is villager kind of gather rate boost. The Jagalian one here is the resource balance equalizing thing. What else have we got? Just another Vaza and another Jagalian over here, so the same story again. So that's a bit awkward. I get the feeling this is meant to be a sort of XP mercenary type build order, and so it's a bit awkward that those trade posts aren't giving any XP income. But these 2 down here certainly are, and they're going to get built now with the wagons, which have come from the 3 trading post shipment that's coming. We'll check back in on Italy. So Italy have got some Musks coming out. They're just about to lose their Explorer here to a little fight with the converted Treasure Guardians of Lakota. But did quite a bit of damage there, but also gave away 45 XP, so not ideal. Got Musketeers out here to try and execute the rescue. I imagine Lakota will just be running away from that. Fleeing the scene of the crime. Nice and effectively. Meanwhile, Italy are lombarding themselves up with no trouble whatsoever. Architect is on house duty. Are housed, so Architect needs to get on with the job a bit more. And the Musketeers, having gone past the Explorer, now deciding to siege this trade post, which is going to take quite a while, but it doesn't mean we get to enjoy the nice dramatic music while that's happening. And I note that thanks mainly to the Lombards, which are trickling in a nice mix of resources, Italy have got themselves, well, did have the macro for the age up, but actually decided to double down on another batch of Musketeers and some Architects. Could have aged up there, very interesting. Still housed as well. This going to have to invest some wood in getting this Architect to work a little bit faster. Meanwhile, if we check back in with Lakota, the 10 gunslingers shipment is in, being followed up by 7 Seton bows, so a full... Oh no, the gunslingers are Musk, so this is a sort of mixed infantry setup. These gunslingers, they have this charged attack that basically lets them do 3 shots for 1. And the musketeers going into melee, that's a pretty good move. Well, actually, I don't know if it is a pretty good move. But it maybe makes it harder for the gunslingers to pull off their ranged attack. The musketeers are only very marginally better than the gunslingers in melee. And they're quite a bit better at range. Oh no, they're not, because of the 2 rate of fire. The gunslingers are significantly better at range. Yeah, so that 3-shot attack, pretty nice as a kind of opening burst. Certainly means that Italy doesn't want to take lots of small skirmishes with this gang of outlaws. They are a bit diminished, but still 8 of them there, mostly on good amounts of HP. And the green trade post does come back. So, you know, investing another 200 wood in getting that built again, or 100 of food and wood, probably. Now some club warriors lurking about are going to get caught by the musk, but it's Uno reverse card time, because suddenly there's set and bows on top of these musks, and the gunslingers are back, and the clubbers are coming in again. And that's good night to those musks. Next shipment for Lakota is going to be 6 club warriors, so they pretty much used all their infantry shipments. Have still got the cowboys and the axe riders, though, available as cav shipments. Oh my goodness, so much gold. That's crazy. So completely depleted this first mine. How are they getting the rest of that? Feels like they've gathered even more than that, unless the tribal marketplace gives you like a yield bonus that I'm forgetting about. Balance of powers has been used, so that mountain of gold is transformed into the other resources. Not quite sure what that achieves. Italy putting down an outpost here next to the final House of Vaza trade post. Kind of interesting. Italy building up a nice mass of Pavisier here. Don't seem interested in any artillery. They are up in age 3. 1,200 resources coming in. So Italy just kind of doing economic shipments pretty much. I think we've had a Fusi and then we've had 2 investments. Now another investment in age 3. So far none of their flashy units coming out. No artillery. It's just your pretty bog standard musketeers and Pavisier. We'll see how that goes. War Chief sacrificed in the name of taking down that outpost, but the outpost is down indeed. And a fairly significant little Lakota army here moving around. We've got 18 heavy infantry, 7 light infantry. Yeah, they're all pretty basic units, but I mean the gunslingers are a bit better than average. Putting down some TPs in the middle of the map here, so it's going to be useful if they can force the fight to happen near those. Although I suspect Italy seems to be interested in guarding these royal houses. It's kind of interesting. I don't see why the royal houses are being such a factor in this, because you've got this Order of Vaza. Has that been used? Because it does seem to be back on the cooldown, doesn't it? But, the Order of Vaza is fine. Balance of Powers is fine. We've got this Summatism. Let's find out what that does. It's going to give 5 Lipicatatas. That's a really nice little bit of momentum shipment for Lakota. But yeah, this Lakota, army, it's quite hodgepodge. We've got a few of their own units, a few outlaws, a few natives now from the trade posts. Haven't got any... no, we have got a war hut at home. Haven't got any cav building at home. So can only train their basic infantry. Queued up plenty of villagers. We'll be making sure their town centre doesn't go idle, so that's very good. Obviously, population isn't a problem for Lakota, so it's not such a big deal for them to queue up a bazillion villagers in the TC, just so that they get a little bit of brain space back. Adoption coming in, so a really kind of an interesting selection. Balance of power has been used again. A really interesting selection of the Lakota kind of XP, eco, slow burn cards here. But those villagers are going to be providing... Let's just check how much it all consolidates to, because they've been buffed twice by my count. Going to be providing an awful lot of XP. There you go, 39 XP. So that... I think it's 10 normally, right? So that is 29 more than usual per villager. And those villagers are coming out pretty fast. That's probably like a trade post's worth of income for as long as you're producing villagers as well. So that's quite significant. We've got some shock riders now coming out of the A Jagalian house, I have to say, I do like these shock riders. I think they're pretty impressive units. Quite complicated set of multipliers on that lance attack, so I'm not going to go and try and decipher it. But basically, they're heavy cavalry and they've got a nice charged ability, so you can really slam them in and then pull them out again. That's a really effective way to use these units. Italy's starting to pull ahead a bit in the score. Got a lot of musketeers. It's musketeers and mixed infantry. That seems to be the way that Engineer wants to play this. More houses coming down from the architects. Town centre going up at the back. We've got a good selection of military buildings here. Pales makes the Lakota single war hut look very, very meagre. Now I'm going to be able to siege down these TPs unchallenged. Lakota not interested in taking this fight at the moment, so going to be conceding a bit of map control instead. We've got a good pipeline here of infantry and falconets coming out. You could kind of argue maybe there's a bit of a weakness to mass cav here because, I don't know, 28 is still quite a lot of musketeers, but all these crossbows and falcons are going to be very weak to a large amount of cav. Winged hussars coming in. I'm thinking as well that the town centre big button could be an option soon for Lakota. And yeah, so there's quite a lot of cav on the field here as Lakota don't have the option anymore, need to get stuck in because their town is under threat. Falconet's able to fire, able to get quite an efficient set of shots off against these infantry. The cav cannot break through this wall. I mean, the wall is mostly Pavisier at this point. Almost all of the musketeers are down for Italy. Oh no, 13 left actually. And the cav are starting to die off now, and they haven't really broken through. All those units with their charged attacks getting stuck in early. I think the Tartar archers switched over to melee towards the end there. Yeah, really failed to break through. One falconet left alive at the end of all that. It's starting to look pretty good for Italy. They've got units in the base. The war hut goes down, that defensive walk up for Lakota, so obviously they've still got all these TPs for income. The villagers have spread far and wide, so it'd be difficult for Italy to take them down, but you gotta say Italy got pretty good value out of that fight there. They're gonna lose their Pavisier here because they just ran out of musketeers to defend them, and Lakota, yeah, kept the pressure up with this cav. I'm kind of interested in whether Lakota have got like a cav combat card in. Yeah, they do, so maybe getting a lot of benefit from all these native cavalry units. Interestingly, Lakota obviously don't really like their own corral and putting out their own axe riders, but really interested in going for these winged hussar and these shock riders from the native houses. And I can totally get it because these are really, really cool heavy cavalry units on both counts. So, a little bit of a skirmish here, a little bit of leftovers. Lakota don't need to be doing this, but they think they can get some edge here, sending more units in against these Pavisier who were running away. Some musketeers have come out in melee to help them out, but actually those musketeers have been overwhelmed by a good number of cav and some rifle riders who are sat in the back doing that sneaky thing that rifle riders do of absolutely decimating the heavy infantry that the Lakota opponent is bringing in to challenge all their melee cav. So yeah, a shipment of rifle riders, just 5 of them, but they're very, very effective. They're nasty units. I do not ever like seeing rifle riders from a Lakota opponent because, yeah, it's just going to give you a massive headache in terms of how you respond to that in terms of composition. So yeah, Lakota have kind of seized momentum here. Got the score lead as well. Have aged up quite a bit late. Oh no, they aged up a while ago. Have invested in Earth Bounty here to get the trickle of coin. Keep using the balance of powers. I don't think they have any estates down, so the second part of that card isn't going to be benefiting them yet. Could be training more villagers to get more benefit out of that adoption. Kind of a shame that they've given up on that. We saw that initial burst of like 10 or so at the beginning of Age 3, but it seems like they've forgotten about it now. The trade route has been upgraded. I feel like maybe the interest in XP and cards has faded away a little bit now, and Lakota just going for a nice big eco boom to pump out these Royal House units as much as possible. Of course, I think Lakota have two problems now. One is that they've not really packed a lot of siege. These Rifle Riders' siege is absolutely dismal. Look at that, 11. This heavy cav from the Royal House is a little bit better, but still not that impressive. And that leads me on to the second problem they've got now, which is they can't really field massive numbers because all these native units have a build limit on. And Lakota have actually only got control of 2 out of the 4 Royal House TPs. So if Italy are able to sit behind their buildings and build up a bit of a mass, which I thought I was going to say they were doing a good job of, but looks like they might be getting drawn into a little bit of a firefight here. Yeah, if Italy can build up enough of a mass by, say, you know, holding their nerve for a little bit and sitting behind these buildings, that's pretty good. A batch of 15 musketeers out there. If they could get another 15 infantry out, that would be pretty good. Oh, the army not really fighting as one. A few units getting caught out here in front of this. You see the musketeers go flying from the charged attack. I absolutely love that. A lot of the musketeers in melee, which I think is the right thing to do, but then you kind of start to ask yourself, why not just go for pikemen if you're fighting cav in melee? The multiplier is fine, I guess, 3x, but you really want a bit better. Bit of a shame that we're not seeing engineer mix in any goons here. I think that could be good. Has ended up taking a really bad fight here, I think. Needed to wait longer, be a bit more patient. You know, 5 barracks. Imagine if they'd been able to get out another 15 or maybe even 20 musks. I think that could quite have gone differently. But it's also worth saying, like, the musketeers have been veterans, but I don't think there's any sign of an arsenal here. Oh no, there is an arsenal. Tell a lie. So, I'm probably completely wrong, and these musketeers have actually been upgraded with the bayonet so that they can fight cavalry very well. But yeah, just getting shut out by the quality of these Royal House units. They themselves have been veteraned up. They've got the benefit of cav combat. I don't think there's anything else. I don't think Lakota have like a native card. But yeah, Lakota's big boom is going even better here because now they've got 8 villages in. That's a total of 53. Plays Italy's 35. 2 town centres, but haven't been able to put out a village lead on Lakota, who did stop training for quite a while. That's probably a bit of an indictment for Italy. They have got another big batch of musks coming out. We've got the militiamen hiding at the back. Don't know how much help they're going to be, but nice to have them, I suppose. Here we go, they all pop, but it's only 10 musketeers. They go into melee. Also, look, it's another thing about these big, expensive, heavy cav units, right? Like, they stay alive for so long. Like, they have so much HP, so there's loads of units now. If I bring up the health bar, there's loads of units in this army on half HP. There's loads on much less, a quarter HP, less than a quarter HP. So they're really, really vulnerable, but they're still putting out 100% of their, 100% of their damage onto the opposing army. It's a really serious advantage Lakota are getting from the fact that they've got these big, high investment cav units. And I also note actually quite a lot of the Lipka Tartars now. And I always say it's a bit of an awkward interaction, but ranged cavalry will do kind of okay against heavy infantry. Not so much in melee, so it's good to see the musks getting put into melee. That is going to help. But yeah, basic ranged cav will do fine, and obviously the rifle riders who I think we only saw the one shipment of. I don't think we've seen any more get trained after this. Will do even better. Now another batch of musks, and this is really like kind of tragic to see. It's just a case of whittling down here. Italy did such a good job of building up a mass and pushing in with a really big mass, and I thought they, you know, there was a point after that fight where I thought they'd won, and I thought Lakota were really in big trouble, but they've just since then they've been fighting at a big numbers disadvantage every single time. I think it's really cost them, especially considering these, you know, these Royal House units are quite limited in number. But yeah, we're seeing Brickman get fantastic value from these. Yeah, I'd love to see like an individual KD on these units, but yeah, it's been absolutely brutal to see how much value they've managed to get out of trading those. And you know, all the Italian villages have been locked up inside their TC for all this time that this fighting's going on. Actually shuffling a few around now, able to get a few out. There is still hunting going on here over on the side of the map. Lakota has got some torps down now from the Vasa TP. Had the opportunity to notice this. A really good job, I'm guessing, like in terms of the Lakota players' attention. They've kind of just put their military gather points in the enemy base. They're not really doing much army micro and are basically just focused on looking after their economy and doing this boom. But yeah, we're seeing huge amounts of resources get floated here. Could really do with putting down some more military production buildings. I know the Royal House Cavalry are really cool, and you just want to train those, but honestly, could actually benefit from this tech. Very, very helpful in the circumstances. Honestly, put down some military production buildings and just train some Lakota units. It'll help you finish this game so much quicker. But yeah, Lakota's boom here is looking really, really powerful, and I think it would be difficult for Italy to stand any chance of turning the tide here. I think I'm actually just going to speed up the game. I know that Lakota have gone up to industrial now as well, so they can start getting guard upgrades, and they have got the Guard Royal House upgrades for their units here. Yeah, if we check in on Italy, I mean, they still have got lots of resources, lots of military buildings, and they keep pushing out more and more units, but yeah, it's just not proving possible for them to get any momentum back here. So we see a batch of Kravats and Schiavoni come out. Oh, it's the Croatian company after all this time. The Croatian company are finally involved. But I'm afraid they're going to arrive just to be knocked down and out. And I've got to say, surely that is the end for this Italy in this game. And there is the GG. Cool. Bit of a long one. You know, what's the story of the game? It's very, very simple. Lakota went for a big eco play, sent quite a few investment cards in. Interesting, quite a focus on XP in terms of that eco. I think that's not something, you know, a lot of those cards are quite new, and that might not be something that we're so used to thinking about as an option for Lakota. I'm not sure how well that worked specifically. I was a bit confused by the royal houses at the start because they weren't really getting used very much. I do think that those early gunslingers got exceptional value. But yeah, once Lakota got up into age 3, I think they got their cav combat in, maybe got a couple of other techs from the natives to upgrade the cav as well, and then started putting out these awesome shock riders and winged hussars, and let's not forget as well the Lipka Tartar archers. Just a great combination of cav units, and they were able to overwhelm even like batches of 20 or 25 musketeers that were coming out all at once from the Italian barracks. I think Italy could have defended a little bit better. There was a period when they still had a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of military advantage, and Lakota was starting to push back to their base. I feel like maybe if they'd massed up and just taken one more big fight, they could have stopped the tide and then maybe put some pressure back on the economy, but they definitely needed to get some pressure on this Lakota economy, because basically the story of the back half of this game, as I'm sure the graphs will betray, Italy just getting outboomed in enormous fashion here in the endgame. Yeah, but that was really interesting. Thanks for the recording, and I'll see you next time. GG.